The New Jersey Statehouse Watch is on. From Trenton, we explain what's happening inside the Statehouse, speaking directly with legislators, policymakers, and budget experts to bring you the facts behind the decisions.
There's no doubt that energy bills are about to skyrocket this summer.
$300 million to Newark billionaires? That ain't cutting it for rural New Jersey. Enough of it.
With your hosts, Jack Brangan and Constance Ditzel. So stick around. Here's Jack and Connie.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Jack Brangan, and you have arrived at the New Jersey Statehouse Watch. And I'm here with Constance.
I'm Constance Ditzel.
How is everybody tonight? I hope you're doing well. We had quite a day today.
Yeah, we had a great afternoon supporting a great candidate for Pennsylvania governor.
That's right. We were in Philadelphia for a luncheon. The star of the show was Governor Ron DeSantis.
Yep.
We went over there with the congressional candidate, Damon Galdo. Damon is running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District here in New Jersey. New Jersey Statehouse Watch, we watch Trenton, and we have a slightly different show tonight. Normally, we have guests on, and we thought we would do something a little bit different tonight in that there has been many changes that have taken place in Trenton, least of which is the new governor. But over the past 12 months, with the last administration and this administration, there have been a number of laws that unfortunately have victimized children and young people in the state of New Jersey. So we think there is either an intentional or unintentional war on children going on, and we're going to go through the top 10 bills that have been passed in New Jersey that, we think in the end we will demonstrate in each case where this hurts kids in New Jersey. This is the types of bills that we'll be talking about will either be a bill that directly will hurt a child, or it will be the type of bill that provides protection for a child that has been put aside. So the protections for the child never get into place.
Right. We've seen recurring themes too.
Yeah.
We've seen 3 recurring themes, and we're going to mention them now. We're not going to go into detail, and we'll sum it up later. 3 themes: protecting adults over the children in their care, taking care of the adults, leaving parents out of the picture of the child's welfare, and a permanent damage, whether it's mentally scarred or physically scarred or death. So these are 3 biggies that result of what we say are New Jersey bills that are the war on children.
Yeah. And some of the bills have nothing to do with children, but they are, we'll call them collateral damage. They're unintended consequences. So we're going to go through 10. Should we jump in?
We'll jump in. We'll take the first one, Mr. Producer. You flip up the first one, number 1.
Although that's not the first slide.
That's not the first slide, however.
Yeah, we want the one.
There we are. New Jersey's abortion laws. This is really important to bring up. This is a biggie. This is the 2022 Freedom of Reproductive Course, they call it, A6260. This is significant because when we were campaigning last year, we both ran for legislature. We were shocked how many people did not know the ramifications of what was codified as law in 2022.
Right.
Namely, that New Jersey does not set any gestational limits on abortion. Up to day of birth, very few questions asked. You can have an abortion up to 9 months. And so many people don't know that.
No reason given whatsoever. You could have your tickets to Bermuda and you don't like those stretch marks, so you have an abortion. So legally, you're covered. You
are covered. Now, to be fair, well, I don't even know if we'd call it to be fair. In 1970, New Jersey had, even before Roe versus Wade, they legalized abortion in New Jersey. Now, it was in the first trimester, but they did legalize it back in 1970. So we do have a history of wanting to have abortion in our state. And it wasn't until 2000 that the Supreme Court blocked a parental notification law. So, as you'll hear with other bills tonight, and other even things with this bill, no parent notice needs to be given as of 2000. So then fast forward to where we are today, 2026, 4 years ago, 2022, codified into law.
Right.
Fundamental right.
All right. So it's up to the point of gestation,
Correct.
delivery, I
Delivery.
should say. That used to be, to me, that used to be called infanticide. I mean, if you have a fully formed 9-month-old baby, location shouldn't be the different, whether it's in the womb or out, you are killing a child. I'm not even saying that this happens, but we don't know, because the other thing about New Jersey is that they don't report abortions.
There's no way of knowing how many of them happen late term, because Planned Parenthood, which is one of your biggest abortion providers, is not obligated to report. And they're certainly not going to voluntarily report a third trimester abortion,
Okay, so
I don't
it's
think.
up to the point of delivery, no age restriction. So a
Right.
12-year-old girl could go in for an abortion and no parental notification.
Correct,
or
whatsoever. And this runs counter to the rest of the Western world.
It
In
does.
Western Europe, no Western European country allows anytime abortion. And in fact, most hover well before 24 weeks. Germany, Spain, France, 12 to 14 weeks. You've got the UK, Sweden, and Iceland and Netherlands will allow, with some exceptions, up to 22 and 24 weeks. Six months is too far in my book, but still, it's a far cry from full term.
Right. So I went to our trusty Grok and I asked what other countries have abortion laws similar to New Jersey. So they gave me a list here: China, Vietnam, Guinea-Bissau, Mexico, Benin, Zambia, Argentina, Colombia, Cuba, North Korea, and Russia. And we are also very similar to the Roman Empire around 27 BC.
Wow.
So, look, this is, if you are children not even born yet are in a danger zone in New Jersey, up to the point of, we think New Jersey can do better.
We think New Jersey can do better, and we're very aggressive. There's a Supreme Court case hanging out there right now. This First Choice Women's Resource Center versus Attorney General Platkin, which now Attorney General Davenport has taken up. They're suing one of the pregnancy resource centers, First Choice. I won't go into too much details on this lawsuit, but essentially they're saying they were misleading women about the services they provide. And it was false advertising that they wouldn't provide abortion. And they were using misleading medical claims or advertising.
Right. So in danger to children, the unborn in New Jersey is a very dangerous place. Let's go on to our next one here.
We will. This is a very big one. Oh, yes. Go
Okay.
ahead, Jack.
All right. So this has to do with the sanctuary state laws. Before we get into that, I want to sort of set the scene here a little bit. We had a peek at a graph that came up. Maybe, Mr. Producer, we can put that back up.
There we are.
This is, I wanted to put this up because people need to understand the effect of the illegal migration that has taken place under the Biden administration. What this graph deals with is Nicaragua, Cuba, Haiti, Honduras. And you can see at the top, Nicaragua, 8%. What that means is 8% of the entire population of Nicaragua emptied out into the United States that came in here illegally. 7% of the entire population of Cuba crossed over into the United States illegally. 6% of the Haiti population, 5% of Honduras. These countries were emptied out, and these folks, the migrants, ended up in the United States. So in Nicaragua, the 8% comes out to almost 600,000 illegal aliens that came in just from Nicaragua. Cuba, 770,000. So almost 800,000. And Cuba has a history of emptying their jails, which they did years ago.
Really?
Emptied their jails in the United States. Most likely they did it again. In Haiti, 6% for Haiti is 720,000 illegal immigrants. Honduras, 5% is 550,000. These are just the tip of the iceberg in the United States. Why do I mention that? Because if we go to think about New Jersey, we know that there is documentation showing that close to 1 million of these illegal immigrants ended up in the Garden State, ended up in New Jersey. So what does that mean? Well, New Jersey passed 4 laws. One had to do with masks on ICE, which we won't deal with. The ones that we think affected children the most, slide number 2, Mr. Producer, the sanctuary state bills. Okay, this is called the Immigrant Trust Directive. Right. This was actually instituted as a directive in 2018, but then was codified into law
Just recently, March 2026.
under Mikey Sherrill. This is basically the umbrella law that prohibits your local municipality from cooperating with ICE, except very slim circumstances. So let me read from the bill. It says state, county, and municipal law enforcement officers shall not provide to federal immigration authorities any of the following information of a person who's been arrested. That would be his address, his telephone number, his email address, credit card number, driver's license number, license plate number, insurance policy numbers, social security numbers. What does this mean? If there was any hope of tracking down these criminals, the odds of that happening now drop. That these criminals now are allowed to roam free because they cannot make the connection, which is exactly was the problem before 9/11, which permitted, most of them were illegal aliens, to knock the buildings down because our local police they were not communicating with federal authorities. So this one basically is saying that your local police administration cannot pass on pertinent arrest details, even though ICE may be looking for these folks. So what we're going to do is go through these laws so you're aware of them. And the next one, Mr. Producer, is this is slide number 3. This is called the Safe Community Act. So there's a trio of laws here. There's the Immigrant Trust Directive. Police are not allowed to cooperate with authorities. This one, first of all, let me just say, whatever the Democratic legislature calls these, like this is safe communities, make sure you understand the very opposite that is going to happen here. So what they do in this law is they designated large portions of New Jersey, meaning certain buildings, office buildings that were off limits. Hospitals, schools, shelters, courthouses, prisons, and other public facilities are placed all off limits to federal immigration officers.
So stop right there. So what do you think you're going to find in a school? Children.
MS-13.
Right?
MS-13 that you would
Yeah,
find.
but I mean, who's going to be in schools but children? So
right.
You're looking at hospitals and shelters where you would have people needing food and shelter. So if somebody is dealing with anyone that's a criminal, if they've been trafficked, then they're completely protected by this law.
That's right.
So this specifically pertains to children right here.
All right. They are providing safe haven for illegal aliens. And so if they go to the hospital is prohibited. In fact, the hospital can be sued if they share the information. There's a high likelihood that a criminal illegal alien is going to end up in a courthouse. So this law is basically saying this is safe haven. ICE is prohibited. I don't know exactly what would happen if I showed up, but for sure they would get non-cooperation.
This apparently was Murphy's favorite because 3 of these bills were presented to Governor Murphy, and this is the only one he signed before he sailed out in December 2025. This was signed by Governor Murphy, and he left the rest for his.
So if you wanted to
Governor Sherrill.
Provide protection for illegal criminal aliens, you would do this Immigrant Trust Directive. You would say, well, the police cannot, you cannot cooperate with ICE. The next thing you would do is you would define several safe haven areas where they can go and they would feel protected so they can do whatever they do. And then the last thing here is called the Privacy Protection Act. This is slide number 4, Mr. Producer. This one is almost funny. The Privacy Protection Act with everything that's going on with the internet, you would think that our legislators would be doing things to protect our privacy as citizens. But no, they're protecting the privacy of criminal illegal aliens. This is another one where if your local municipality picks up automated license plate information, they are not permitted, to share that with ICE.
Yeah.
So what happens again? You have another barrier between your local police force and and ICE, which opens the door now for these criminals to continue wandering through our neighborhoods, in our malls, in and out of stores.
And these bills are already being enacted. They were signed in March. We heard it in April 17th. I think that's the date. In Camden County, Lou Capelli said, you have to have a judicial warrant.
That's right.
He's taken these very seriously. And in Camden County, you're going to be protected if you are doing anything against the law.
Absurd thing about this one is that if the data is shared with ICE, the state of New Jersey must contact the perpetrator, the illegal alien, and let them know that their data has been shared with ICE. So
astounding.
Right. So these are 3 laws that specifically do not hurt children, but I think there are unintended consequences, which we're going to talk about now, of how this actually hurts children. And we're going to talk about some nasty people here that we're going to run through and things that have happened to some of the kids in New Jersey. You don't have to believe me. If you go to the next, I call the wow slide, Mr. Producer. I want everyone in New Jersey to see this website. This is a DHS Gov. WOW stands for the worst of the worst. These are the worst criminals, and we're going to take a look at them, that you can ever imagine. And the greatest threat to the children of the state of New Jersey. That's why we put them towards the top of the list, these sanctuary state laws. Because these sanctuary state laws that we just went over protects these individuals and allows them to roam and stay in our neighborhoods. When you get to this website, it's very easy to use. You just pick your state, so pick New Jersey, and then put a keyword in there, child, minor, something like that. And what you're going to see is something like the next slide here, Mr. Producer. I think this is the one with our 2 guys here. These are 2 criminals here that were picked up by ICE. And I want to emphasize they were picked up by ICE with no help from your local authorities. Apparently, these people did not take safe haven in the schools or in the some of the areas they probably should have. Okay, I'm just going to show these 2. The one guy's from the Dominican Republic. Take a look at his crime: sex offenses against a child, fondling, sexual thought, assault in Trenton, New Jersey. The next one is child fondling in Woodbury, New Jersey. Now, I went through and sort of took a list, which is the next slide, Mr. Producer. And
my word.
This is about 15 seconds of a query that went into this WOW database. Now, you obviously cannot read all that, but as you change the keywords from, you could put rape in there, you could put murder, you're going to get a list after list after list. And if you think you're safe, let me just quickly review here. We have in this list here from Honduras and Morris Plains, New Jersey, cruelty towards a child and robbery. That cruelty towards it just sends chills up my. I can't imagine what these kids are going through. Mexico, in Bridgeton, New Jersey, sex offense against a child, fondling, molestation of a child. We have from Costa Rica in Plainfield, New Jersey. This is fondling of a child, sexual assault. Newark, New Jersey, from Honduras, cruelty towards a child. Peru, in Elizabeth, New Jersey, sex offense against a child. Columbia, in Elizabeth, New Jersey, child fondling. If you think you're safe, you're not. Cape May, New Jersey, sexual assault. Plainfield, New Jersey, fondling a child. Plainfield again, Fort Dix, New Jersey, endangerment of a minor for indecent purposes. In Leesburg, sexual assault, sexual exploitation of a minor. Bridgeton, New Jersey. Let's see, we've got Crossings, New Jersey, Fort Dix, New Jersey, Bridgeton, New Jersey, Bridgeton, Toms River, Fort Dix, sexual exploitation, more Bridgeton. You got problems in Bridgeton.
Bridgeton is on the list of one of the top 10 violent crime cities in New Jersey. It's a small city. It's not your classic Newark, Patterson, Elizabeth. Bridgeton is on the list. It was one of the most violent.
Okay.
Children most in poverty. There
Jackson, New Jersey, cruelty towards a child. Mount Laurel, New Jersey, Fort Dix, Belvedere. Belvedere's beautiful country along the Delaware River. Beautiful. Bridgeton, New Jersey against Morristown, New Jersey. Beautiful town. Watchung, Irvington, Bridgeton, New Jersey. Bridgeton has a problem.
Yeah, they do.
So based on these three sanctuary state laws, the local police authorities up and down the state are not cooperating to try to.
No.
These were only brought in by ICE. These were not brought in with your local police authority. And this is not even the worst. I'm going to go through the worst, and then we're going to put this to bed. But this is
okay.
I got to tell you, even in preparing for this was difficult to go through here. There have been crimes that have occurred where the people were not picked up, that they were able to successfully perpetrate their crimes. Here I'm going to switch over. This was not a child here. In Jersey City in 2025, a triple homicide, a mother, Luisa Urbano, and a 5-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. Now, what happened there? Prosecutors said the suspect broke into the apartment, stabbed the three of them to death. This person, according to ICE, was in the United States unlawfully. This person should have been in Mexico, not in Jersey City. In Monmouth County, Maria del Carmen Pleitez and her 11-year-old daughter. I think this happened last summer. This is a case where an illegal alien crossed over the medial and hit them head on. The mother died at the scene. The daughter died later in the hospital. There were pictures. If you saw a picture of this 11-year-old girl, an angel dead now. All of these are avoidable. Every single one was avoidable. In Vineland, we had aggregated sexual assault against a 13-year-old girl, Mexican national in the United States. Plainfield, sexual assault, aggravated assault against a 10-year-old boy. These are children that have had their innocence just violently ripped away from them. We're not doing the most that we can do to protect these kids. This was a Honduras national. In Hackensack, a Guatemalan national, aggravated sexual assault to a preteen girl. In Camden, sexual assault of a 12-year-old girl, Honduran national. New Brunswick, aggravated sexual assault of an 11-year-old girl, a Mexican national authority. This is brutal stuff. And each and every one of these things hurt the children. These sanctuary state laws have nothing to do with being trust.
No.
These are killing our kids. These things are terrible laws.
No. And I want to interject something here too, because some of you are going to say, I've heard this argument from the other side, that, okay, Connie, you tell me there's all these people that swarmed across the border. It's in the millions. This really isn't that many when you consider all the good people that have come across. Most of them are not doing this. But one of the things you're failing to recognize with this is the good old 80-20% business rule. 80% are responsible for, 20% are responsible for 80% of whatever is happening. What if one of those people comes across and is responsible for a large drug ring? Mm-hmm. How many children have died? I'm not sure I have that stat. I bet it's out there. Bringing fentanyl over, any kind of narcotics. So just one can be responsible for a huge number of deaths in addiction. We all know, and I can cite two right now, people who have died, children, people close to me who have died of fentanyl. or even safe, supposedly legal drugs. So you can't give me that business that this is not very many, because this doesn't measure this number of, what is it, 25? This doesn't measure the huge number of children affected by drug addiction.
Right.
So go on.
So just, you may wonder now, where did these sanctuary state laws, and we'll finish this up in a second here, where did they come from? It came out of our legislature, but there are there are some key people, those that actually put pen to paper, that made that list of safe havens. So let's look at the thing called, appeared on 4 bills, Mr. Producer. Who wrote the laws to put our kids at risk? Well, these 5 people that you're looking at, their names appeared either as sponsors or co-sponsors on every single one of the sanctuary state laws that protected criminal illegal aliens, that allow them to be in Jersey City, that allow them to roam Bridgeton, and not be threatened by the local police. So Annette Keano from Union County, Ellen J. Park, LD 27 from Bergen County, Verlina Reynolds Jackson from LD 25 in Mercer County, Balveer Singh for LD 7 from Burlington County, right next door to us, Anthony Varelli, LD 15, Mercer County. These are the people that wrote the sanctuary state laws that has made New Jersey a sanctuary state. We haven't even gotten into the financial repercussions.
Oh my gosh.
Of the state.
Yeah,
we're just talking about the kids.
Yeah, today.
Let's go to the next. These people appeared on 3 of the 4, either as sponsors or co-sponsors. Gabriel Rodriguez, LD 33, Eliana Pintor Marin, LD 29 from Essex, Shama Hyder from LD 37, Bergen County. So I ask the voters in Hudson County, in Essex County, in Bergen County, in Burlington County, just get rid of these people. These people do not have that parental red flag that goes up that says, maybe we're going to hurt some kids here with these laws. They don't have that red flag. And personally, after going through this was difficult to put this together last night. These people disgust me. Personally, this is my own opinion. These people have to go. Every one of them should be completely ashamed. If I ever get elected, I am going to put a law in place where if an illegal alien commits a crime like the ones I just read, retroactively, I want these people to be sued. That the parents, because they're going to leave office, they're going to walk away like nothing happened. This is not right what these people have done. This is not right what's happening to our kids. These people, I'm asking the fair-minded people in these counties to put good leadership. You do not have good leadership.
We watched this vote happen on March, I want to say it's 23rd, March 23rd. We watched it happen, the vote. And the people that voted for these votes, the majority party, they did not blink when the minority party mentioned some of these very people.
You're right.
They did not blink. They didn't show emotion. There did not seem to be concern. That I don't understand that.
We would have Dawn, Fantasia, Paul, they would get up, any one of them, to basically say what I just said here. These people are on their phones. They're playing games on their phones. They're chatting. They don't care. And that's not the type of legislator we want in Trenton. So my request to these people here, the voters in these counties, please do something about. These are not the type of people we want representing us in New Jersey.
Right.
So let's go on.
So we're starting with the top, the 3 most egregious. We mentioned, Mr. Producer, can you bring up number 3, the next slide or whatever
Number
number
5.
is? Number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, this is the concern with this policy 56. And this is the policy and the comprehensive health and physical education standards. It is labeled transgender students, period. That's the name of the policy. And I want to make this clear. It does not deal with others in the LGBTQ equation. except peripherally. It really only deals with the transgender situation. In fact, there are many groups, Gays Against Groomers. They're specifically against these policies. So anyway, this transgender policy, our great concern is that it states very unequivocally that there is no affirmative duty for any school district staff member to notify a student's parent of the student's gender identity or expression. This is this policy that it makes it very clear in several places. This is just one spot. There's one in there under the same policy. The principal or designee is advised to work with a student to create an appropriate confidentiality plan regarding the student's transgender or transitioning status, such that the parents are in the dark. You can be in the dark if your child is socially transitioning at school 2 years, 3 years. And then by the time they come to you and they're ready for the puberty blockers, you're blindsided. This is new to you. And it's very hard to walk back a child who's been under probably psychological care, because all through this thing, they talk about the principal or their designee, meaning that the behavioral staff people on board. Right. This policy, you've heard about it, maybe by that number, it's outrageous. And along with that came that was 2017, along with the curriculum. 2020 was a very aggressive gender ideology curriculum, where they have taken the role to teach your children very personal, all kinds of things about sex that your child may not be ready to learn. And that's, I find, appalling when you're teaching second graders. I won't tell you, we didn't go through the list of the things that are being taught in second grade. Yeah. But fifth grade, go on.
Yeah, I would say, there's a recurring theme here about cutting parents out of the equation. Back on the very first one with the abortions. Yeah. The child, 12-year-old child can have the abortion without parental knowledge or consent. Again,
that was one of the three we mentioned at the beginning, without parental knowledge.
So here.
And they have a pretty name for all these things. Once again, the names are always, very positive. This is called a student-centered approach, meaning it's all about the student. And in such a positive way. What is all about the student when their parents are left out? I can't imagine why that is helpful to a student. Yes, you have your parents who aren't the best in the world, but I won't go through the list, but I have a list of about 6 other policies that keep the parents in check. If you find a child is bullied, you can call Dysphoria. They have bullying laws. They have all kinds of laws that are on guard. Suicide watch, they're trained in that. So it's unconscionable that they choose to leave all parents out of the picture because you have one every now and then that is not the best one in the world.
I mean, so you hear the term parental rights. It is the right.
It is the right to raise your child.
Every child, of every parent, to know what's going on with their child. When you drop them off, you don't want to drop your son off in kindergarten and then see a girl graduating from 12th grade.
I mean, we've talked about this at school board meetings, and the school board is unmoved.
And not only that, they accuse us of being Nazi.
Well, there's another thing. We spoke at meetings. We didn't even get to discuss the policy because we were shut down with some favorite name calling of theirs. It was kind of which if we had done, we would have gotten kicked out of the meeting.
So the transgender curriculum
is harmful. It leads these children to start on puberty blockers, which means they can never conceive if they change their mind. There are detransitioning cases. You're going to be hearing more about these in the news and from us, where children will come back later. They will detransition back, and there's some lawsuits because as minors, they were not given adequate counsel. One gal had 2 telehealth visits, and then they agreed to remove her breasts.
Right. So, I mean, we could spend a show on this one
this
alone.
Is very, very harmful to children.
This 5756 is also the one that puts boys and girls sports.
It's all related. Title IX,
boys into the girls' locker rooms. This is, again, if you wonder what's going through the minds, it's just.
These 3 are the top. We felt these 3 were the top subjects: the sanctuary state bills, the
abortion
bills up to full term, and what we're doing to our youth and leaving parents out of the picture. Those were the top 3 topics.
So that brings us to number 6, Mr. Producer. This is one that was not passed and frankly should have been passed. this is an embarrassment that we're even discussing this. This is fairness in women's sports. Again, this is the case where you have a transgender male participating in in girls' sports. So you have an individual that is larger, greater muscle mass, greater lung capacity, greater acceleration, hits harder, greater bone density, is bigger and faster and actually more dangerous to every female athlete on the field. And this is not anymore just field hockey.
Yeah.
My granddaughter is playing girls lacrosse. So girls are playing contact sports. Frankly, the girls basketball is a contact sport.
Yeah, very much so. And this bill, it's been a full year. They wanted to pull us out to vote in June before the session ended in June of 2025. In fact, I think Pennsylvania passed it the same week.
Yeah.
We did not. Instead, they decided there wasn't time, but they thought there was time so that they could consider a bill for a travel advisory for all pregnant persons so that they could know which states to go to in the summer where they could get an abortion if they needed to. That was the priority. This they wanted to pull for vote. So I don't know that we're going to see it come for a vote.
Yeah. The other heartbreaking thing about this, about the biological, in a lot of these sports, these girls put in massive amounts of hours in practice. And yes, it's a tragedy when the leader, in a championship race, when the lead girl gets beaten by a biological male. But to me, as a former athlete and one who put in 4 hours a day, in athletics, to me, the heartbreak is over there in lane one if it's swimming, who normally would have made the finals. And if you make the finals, you're in front of the college coaches. You get the scholarships. But over in lane one with a boy, they get chopped out.
How humiliating.
And that is, they're after all that time, years, they are pushed out of the picture because some guy, is claiming to be a girl.
Yeah.
So I don't know who keeps these statistics, but somehow Grok knew this. But in 2024, over 890 medals were lost by 600 female athletes.
That's an interesting stat.
In 400 competitions in 29 different sports. The girls lost to $500,000. It's probably even more than that. Trans-identifying male athletes have taken over 2,000 gold medals from women and girls in the United States alone.
I hear this. Where are the feminists? I mean, why aren't you supporting women anymore? Where are the feminists?
Where are the fathers?
They would have had a hissy fit back in the 70s. Where are the dads?
Yeah.
Where, do you want to see your daughter be humiliated? You should be at your school boards. You should be with your legislators. In our district, Congressman Norcross, he voted this down. I mean, I don't understand where the feminists are, where the fathers are to watch this happen to your girls.
I will tell you, in the 80s, this would never happen. It just never would happen. I don't know what's going on with the men.
Yeah.
Where are the men stepping up for their daughters?
Men step up, yeah.
And it's the parents that are not acting that's allowing this to happen. And they're giving in to basically the activist.
Right.
So,
let's move on. We got similar things coming up. Number 7, did you have everything there? Number 7, Mr. Producer? This is new. This is a legal shield law. It secures protection for patients and providers accessing and providing reproductive health care services and rights of residents to reproductive health care services that is restricted in other states. So New Jersey just doesn't want to protect their own. They want to protect everybody coming across the border who wants to come in for 3 things. You might want to come in for some kind of transgender treatment that's not allowed in your state. You might want to come in for one of those 3rd trimester abortions you can't get in your state. And so it protects all the providers. Again, this is an invitation into our state. I bet this has something to do with giving them free health care too. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
There's a growing number of detransitioners.
Yeah.
These are young people who were disillusioned, did not get the right treatment and counseling when they were younger. And, this affirmative care put them directly down this path of being the transgender drugs and so on and so forth. So down the road, if they are remorseful of what has happened after they realize they can no longer have children, things of that nature, they will come back to New Jersey to try to sue. And this law protects those doctors, those butchers that would cut healthy breasts off of young girls, and sterilize boys. This law, this is the New Jersey Democrat legislature that are shielding these doctors and butchers.
Protecting adults over the children they're supposed to care for.
That's right.
Here's what gets me. We both went to hearing. We went to one of the hearings in May. We were both there. We both testified. And I'm sitting there and the people who were for it are like, oh, thank you for protecting the most vulnerable. And first I thought, wait a minute, who's the most vulnerable? We used to call them the unborn. Of course, the unborn are being hurt here too, because you can come across for your third trimester abortion. But the transgender kids really are vulnerable. And yet what gets me is that they formulated this huge liberal curriculum that's been in play now for a long time. They created the problem of training all these kids that you can go change your gender. And now they got to come back and fix the problem and protect them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And their way of protecting them is to protect their providers. So it's kind of bizarre. We create the problem, then we say now they're vulnerable, now we have to help them out. And I do want to help them out. I mean, they're caught in the crossfire.
Right. So this is yet another law that does not require parental consent.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can have a gender dysphoric child, I'll just say Ohio, right? That cannot, can't get the surgery they want, that they think that they need. They can come to New Jersey now, and they can be brought here by an individual other than the parent, without the parent's knowledge or consent. And in New Jersey, even without parental knowledge of consent back in Ohio, these butchers here can go ahead with the surgery because they have a financial incentive. They get money for doing this.
I hate to defend this just slightly. I don't think it's there yet. I think New Jersey at this point still requires parental notification for surgery.
If you live in New Jersey.
If you live in New Jersey.
You do. But if you come out of state, that's the thing about this law. It shields out of state people.
So you can come from out of state and also get the puberty blockers, which
that's right.
At this moment, New Jersey still needs parental.
If you're a resident of New Jersey, there are restrictions. But if you're coming from out of state, you can come in.
What an invitation. What an invitation.
New Jersey is not only a sanctuary state for illegal aliens. We are now going to be a sanctuary state
for the unborn.
Transgenders. Same thing with abortions. They can come here to get an abortion. And the last thing is about the First Amendment issue that's built in.
Yes, mention that. The First Amendment issue on this one.
They added anybody that complains about this bill, like us tonight, or anybody that pickets in front of a Planned Parenthood, if Planned Parenthood feels as though they are being harmed or damaged, their reputation is being damaged, or they're being damaged financially, this law allows them to go after that demonstrator who is across the street praying or being very quiet, not blocking anyone. But if Planned Parenthood feels like they're being harmed anyway, those demonstrators can be fined up to $78,000. Fourth degree charges, apparently. So does this hurt children? This is very harmful to children.
So just to sum up so far, we're going to take a break soon. This is... Actually, I think we are going to take a break because we want to talk about some of the outcomes of of where this is going.
Right. But we have one about a suicide hotline coming up.
Yeah, we have other things. So we'll take a break.
Okay.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, No government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Hi, we're back. Thanks for sticking around. We're going to proceed ahead because there's something we want to bring up that we ourselves didn't know of the severity of it. Human trafficking, young boys, young girls, and of course, those that aren't so young, that aren't minors anymore. Jack and I went to the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking. This was in March. Mm-hmm. There was even a coalition from the Attorney General's office there. We went to this. This was a 2-day summit. And the reason they presented this is because apparently human trafficking is extra severe during large sports events. And hello, we had the World Cup. We still have the World Cup. Mm-hmm. And they were very concerned about that. And so therefore this coalition was held here. We heard some horrible and compelling testimony from survivors. One woman spoke for a full 2 hours. She was not from the inner city. She was from a nice suburban white-collar neighborhood in Texas. Mm-hmm. This is not restricted to the inner cities. What's disturbing is that the numbers are so big, and we don't know exactly how big they are. But what we're finding on the very day, this is really interesting, the very day I testified in May against that bill we just told you about, 2218, that I mentioned, this would make human trafficking so much easier. I get home and in the news that night, they're talking about a human trafficking ring in Maple Shade, Pensacola, New Jersey, 13 arrests that they'd been following for a year. So you can't catch up with these people very quickly. They're wily. They know what they're doing. They can come across the border and seem like one of your nice neighbors, by the way. So the human trafficking is very serious. Now, here's a statistic. If you want to, again, worry about who's coming across the border and you're saying, oh, they're such nice people. Yes, a lot of them are nice people, but they're still breaking law. This is recent. The DOJ, and I think Fox is the one that covered this story, they located recently 146,000 children who are unaccounted for who'd come across the border. 146,000. They have reason to believe the universe is about 450,000 children. So there are 300,000 children they cannot locate who have come across the border. Now, if you think there's a political motivation, even Joe Biden's DOJ brought this up, Department of Justice in August 2020, before Trump came in, the August before he came in. Mm-hmm. They already were looking at this. So this is not a new number. This is a lot of kids. Human trafficking is not something that you can just say, oh, it doesn't happen here, because it is.
Right. And they are unaccompanied.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they're showing up with no adult, mm-hmm. maybe with just a little tag on them.
Yeah.
And we hand them over to some individual now.
Or they're paying off. The story, too, is that these people are paying the parents to give safe harbor for their child and bringing them across the border.
Right.
When in fact they're being trafficked.
So when they hand the child over to another person, who is that person mm-hmm. that they're handing that child over to? Well, it used to be they would do DNA testing on the child and to confirm that they were. However, the Biden administration stopped that.
Oh, really?
So we don't know under the Biden administration, why would they stop that, first of all? Why would they not want to confirm that this child is a family member? They stopped doing that. And so now we don't know who we handed those kids over to. And that means of the million that came into New Jersey, how many were children? And God knows who we handed those kids over to. We don't know. And again, we could know if you looked hard enough, but apparently the Biden administration didn't care who they handed it over. And apparently Phil Murphy didn't care either during his administration. So human trafficking is huge, and we have to do a show on that, get somebody in here. But okay, so we're up to number 8. This is the suicide hotline. This is yet another one where the parents are
left out of the picture.
So, yeah, what this is about is if your child, if you have a child that is contemplating suicide, they may call one of these 1-800 hotlines, which is a good thing, that they do. And after the initial conversation, the hotline may follow up with that child for, to touch base with them and so on and so forth. During that follow-up, at no point is the parent notified. And that's basically what this is saying here, that there is no requirement to bring the parents into the loop.
Yeah.
Now, after that follow-up call with that child, you don't know what direction he's. If that child ends up committing suicide, this whole transaction here, this discussion could take place without the parents even knowing, and they have a dead child. They are not brought into this.
The law is written. It specifically says in a couple places you do not have to contact the parent or guardian.
That's right.
It's not like it was left out. And I applaud our representatives. It may have been Senator Testa, may have been Paul Knitcher. There were a couple of them. They stood up. They agreed with the bill in general. They said, we just want the parents to be notified. And this is the way it goes down in assembly. They weren't even given the credence of a discussion. They said, table the motion.
Right.
They tabled the motion, they voted in.
So
they're deliberately leaving parents out of the picture. Once again.
9 times out of 10, there are family issues with the parents involved. You, with the right counseling, you work your way to a solution. There are cases where the parents may be a danger to that child, but there are, plenty of other protective laws separate from this that will protect that child. The child protective agencies will get involved, so on and so forth. You cannot unilaterally just cut parents out. You just can't do it. It'll put these kids at risk. Some of these kids will commit suicide. That could have been avoided if the parents were involved.
So let's bring up number 9. We have another very concerning bill. Again, freedom to read. Yeah, again, look at the name of this. Yeah, freedom to read. I was
going to say, here's one.
Freedom to read what? Well,
right.
That's in fact we also attended that testimony. We heard this in Trenton. We were the number of people there. Some of the people brought pictures of some of the incredible books that are in our libraries. They were so concerning that they made sure the posters weren't turned around so that those who were there for the day, and there were children out there, couldn't see them. That's how disturbing they were. So freedom to read protects librarians and school staff when they make choices for library books to keep there. Parents are not really involved in the selection process, which I kind of would understand in general. But if they have challenges, there's a very obtuse process if they have concerns. So the freedom to read, it permits books with graphic depictions of both heterosexual and homosexual couples engaged in activity. They're so graphic that it would be impossible to show them anywhere on Facebook or any social media platforms because the New Jersey obscenity law explicitly would not permit these. And the obscenity law, folks, is not written from 1620. This is a 2023 law. It's contemporary. It does not permit anything like this. That if Jack wanted to show one of these books to someone at the park over here, a kid, he could be arrested.
You would be arrested.
Yeah. So if they get qualified immunity in the schools, but that's not enough. They had to make a law to protect the librarians.
Right. And
there's some 20,000 school and public library staff, temporary and permanent, who protected for this. Again, we protect the parents, and I'm still bothered. I'm sorry, not protect the parents, protect the adults. I'm still bothered by the statement. I got to find this here. The statement that Senator Swicker made. They kept insisting it had to do with race and gender on those of us who were against it. It had nothing to do with race and gender.
No.
It had to do with the kinds of acts and the things that were very graphic. And he said, all New Jerseyans, I'm quoting because this was published, all New Jerseyans have the freedom to choose what you want to read, and parents have and will continue to have the freedom to choose what their children will read. But no one gets to decide that for you. Not now, not ever. Well, that isn't true, Because if that book is in the school library, by default, that child can be in the school library and access what the librarian thinks is age appropriate.
Right.
Now, age appropriate is another squirrely matter because we have 14 to 19% in all of our school districts that are developmentally challenged. So you let those kids in at those books, okay? So it only takes one page at one of these books, and it's got a lasting impression. I trust you. Trust me. So it is not true what he said. We're not trying to dictate. If these books were restricted to the public library, then a parent can make the decision what they want their kid to read.
Right.
And you can take them out or not.
Yeah.
And you have just as much control over that. If you want these books, you can do that. But when they're a library, you're automatically exposing all children to them.
Right. So the easiest way to understand this, this is the famous scenes where there's a parent standing at the podium at a school board meeting and reading in public to the board members from this pornographic book that is in the library. And as they read through this pornographic book, the school board president raises a hand and calls the police to drag the woman away from because of they're exposing pornography.
They're squirming. It's uncomfortable. There was one school board meeting where they had the 12-year-old boy read it.
Yeah.
They weren't going to pull him away. And that was actually quite effective.
Yeah. So the freedom of read is not only what they are reading, these depictions, this is pornography in your school library. These are graphic. They're not photos, but they are graphic, sort of art, hand-drawn. The other thing is there are instructions on how to get onto sex sites, which is going to has to do with our next one. But this is all bad.
Yeah, we're moving on. I guess we're running out of time. Let's at least throw a couple of these. Throw a couple of these out here that we wanted to mention. Number 10, you wanted.
Yeah, so we're up to number 10.
Yep.
Okay, so this is one that has not passed that we think is a necessary protection. So my question is to the mothers and fathers that, first of all, this is about pornography, and pornography is the kids have porn in their pocket, on their phones. If they found out a way to get around some of the parental controls, or they got someone else's phone, they can go on to Pornhub. No problem. All they have to do is check the box. Yes, I'm 18. And the average age now of a child going to Pornhub and seeing pornography the first time is 12 years old. So that could be like 6th or 7th grade. And the parents really have to ask yourself, what are you going to tell your 7th grade, 6th grade daughter when you find out that she spent the afternoon on Pornhub? What are you going to say to your son? If you have not been on these sites, you better get on these sites, because these are the sites that are teaching your children about sex. So you not only have these porn sites, you have the transgender curriculum here in New Jersey.
That's right.
So between the two, you've got a pretty confused young people. And, these things are set up to be addictive for these boys. That once they get on there and they get hooked onto this pornography. So what is this law about? This law has been passed. I'd have to check this. I think there's about 15 other states that have passed this. This requires age proof that you are over 18 before you can get into this website. If you have a young boy that tries to get into a bar, they're carded, proof of age. If they try to get into a strip club, they're stopped, they're carded. If they want to buy alcohol online, they have to upload their license. If they want to buy other things online where they have to upload the license. If you want to sell things, anything on Facebook, and have a credit card, all that kind of, you have to identify yourself and you have to upload. So what this does, anybody that wants to go to a porn site has to go to a third party to upload their identification. If you want to go to a porn site, you got to do this. What happens? A majority of the young kids never go to the porn sites. Many of the porn sites shut down in the state of Texas. They shut down in North Carolina. They shut down in these states. We are not doing our kids any favor by allowing them free access to these porn sites. This is dangerous. This is poisonous. It ruins their view of women. It ruins their whole idea of how to interact, boys and girls, how to react, how to date, and just ridiculous expectations, as if they get intimate, what the expectations are. This is all bad.
And it's sitting, what is it, S1826. You know what? I'd like to see that group of people who put these other bills together, sanctuary states. I'd like to see them put their names down on this. Let's ask them. If they want to show us they're concerned about kids, let's push this in the Senate. Right. That group of 5 who has passed these other bills. Are they willing to put their names on something that's positive here?
Yeah, this
apparently
is
not yet.
This is something that New Jersey must do. And again, we need the right people in the legislature to stand up and pass these bills.
Yeah.
There's a Senate version here. There is no assembly version for this session. There was in the prior session. We need to turn this into a law.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's 10. I'm exhausted.
That's 10. We have a couple honorable mentions, if you want to call them honorable. Right. Dishonorable mentions, I guess. We've got this bill, this S1188 that hasn't passed yet, but I have concerns about it. This lowers the age from 16 to 14 for behavioral health care, for a child to make their own decision, which means if it's 14 and they have mental health counselors at the high school, the whole group of students can be counseled and you don't even know it. They've already lowered it from 18 to 16 in 2015. So a minor's under 18, remember? But New Jersey lowered it from 18 to 16 so that kids could get their own mental health care. And now they want to lower it from 16 to 14. Now, we sat through hearings on this. It hasn't passed yet. I'm hoping that maybe some of us made some impact, that they won't pass this. But this is a concern. These kids, these 14-year-olds are still developing judgment. They're still dependent on parents. They're not ready to make these decisions. And if they do want to have some kind of counseling, the parent has to be involved.
Right. So this one, I think, died on the vine the last session, but it most certainly will rear its head again. There's no doubt in my mind. In this one, if you lower it to 14, as you mentioned, that covers 9th grade up to 12th grade.
The whole high school.
Okay, so that means now these counselors have access to your children for counseling without your knowledge. Again, it specifies without the parents' knowledge or consent.
And also, there are schools where they have clinics, federally health, FHQs, federally qualified health centers. They're clinics, essentially, that are going to be on school grounds. Yeah. Which means it would entitle a child to just walk over to the clinics and get over whatever health care they want.
So what kind of counseling can they get? They can get sex counseling. They can get drug counseling. They can get transgender, gender-affirming care counseling. With this counseling of this nature, you must have parents involved. This is just absurd. Yeah. This is another one. So that's 11. So
there's one more here. It's related. I think we've got this. Prohibits the sharing of automated license plate information for interstate investigation concerning reproductive health care services. You want to try to explain that?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, anytime the Democratic legislature says reproductive health care services, forget it. This is abortion or transgender. In this case, it's abortion.
By the way, out of all the Planned Parenthood centers, only 14 actually give counseling. Yeah. There's a big, is it 14? There was a very small percentage of those that actually give counseling. Right. Gosh, I wish I had that number. Yeah. Anyway.
So, I mean, basically, for this one, they want to keep abortion activity in New Jersey under wraps so nobody really sees what's going on. In this case, if police pick up automated license plate information and it is someone that is getting abortion, maybe they're stopped. I don't know. They cannot share that information that the device picks up. However, this could be a child trafficker who inadvertently got their victim pregnant somehow. The child traffickers can, ferry up and down the New Jersey Turnpike without any problems to get abortions for their girls.
Didn't this already happen in Willingboro? Wasn't there?
I think there was.
There was a case already nearby.
The legislature is just not doing a good job. This just leaves the door open for these traffickers, just an easy pass their way up and down the turnpike with these
Yeah.
girls. This is bad.
And some of these cases are costing hours and hours and hours of legislative time. Freedom to read, policy 5756, hours of legislative time, attorneys, court time. And I'm sitting through these hearings. I've heard them go on the Supreme Court in Newark. They go on and on and on. And you're thinking, why in the world have we gone to the effort to even have to discuss this? And it's because these kinds of laws are made.
Yeah, we need to change these laws. For virtually all these laws, I didn't look at every single roll call, but I'll go out on a limb here and say for every one of these laws, only Democrats voted for them.
That's correct.
Republicans, not one Republican signed on to any of these laws.
Yeah, but they're
Now,
there.
they're never going to change because, if you look at the numbers, there just aren't enough Republicans in the state of New Jersey. We really need, the fair-minded Democrats and the fair-minded independent voters,
and there are many,
to stand up and help us get people elected, to protect our kids.
Right. They don't even have to be Republican. They have to be someone who will not pass this kind of bill. And there's a caveat. Even these things that aren't laws, policy 5756, this one about the transgender, this isn't even a law. It's called guidance, but it's as good as law because every school district, 585 school districts adopted it. So now they're kind of stuck with it, and every school district has to deal with it.
No district wants to buck the Department of Education
system.
in Trenton.
So those were our top 10. Now, at the beginning, here's the trend we were noticing, and we gave you a lot of examples. The one trend that these bills, they're increasingly isolating children from their parents, the ones we just mentioned, the suicide hotline, the policy 5756, the lowering the age from 16 to 14. The second thing I mentioned was there's permanent physical damage and mental scarring in transgender surgeries. That's unmistakable. And the meds they're taking. If you change your mind, you can't go backwards. There's killing the unborn at 9 months. That's pretty terminal and causing distress to the mother, which is something we don't talk about. But I cannot believe that these mothers that are going for this are in having some distress. The third thing, protecting adults over the children. This has happened so many times. We saw this in, quote, freedom to read. We saw this in this legal shield bill. They're protecting the adults over the children. And I find that unfathomable that once again, they're looking after the parents. This is all the case with looking after the parents. They're looking after the adults that are in these leadership positions that the children trust. They're not consulting the adults who need to know, the parents. So those are three biggies: parental rights, the harm, and
no. So do we have any more?
No, I'm exhausted.
Do we have any ads coming, commercial breaks, or
No, we don't.
We're
I think we've wrapped things up. We've gone a little over, and we have some upcoming guests. Why don't you tell us who they are?
Upcoming guests. By the way, on our website, NewJerseyStateHouseWatch.com, we do have a little form there. If there are topics that you would like to discuss, if you know of a advocate, subject matter expert here in the state of New Jersey, we'll be happy to reach out to them and schedule them to come on air and talk with them. So coming up here, Mr. Producer, why don't we do the last one? We have a couple good guests coming up here with Mike and Ganamort.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of these bills that we talked about, Mike has been in the trenches, standing up on the floor of the assembly, arguing against most of these bills. So that should be a good evening. Rosemary Becky, I don't know Rosemary that well.
I don't either, but she's got this Jersey First organization.
That's right.
That it's doing good, and we're going to let her talk about that.
That's right.
We'd like to learn a little bit more about it.
And she did run for the New Jersey GOP
chairmanship.
Chairmanship. So she'll be coming up on August 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a wrap.
I think that's a wrap. So we've been wanting to talk about this. However, it's not happy talk, but I think it's necessary talk.
It is. I
think people need to know. And I think what can be done about it is don't pass these kinds of laws.
And don't elect these people.
Don't elect people that do that. So at any rate, thank you for listening. And you can find us NewJerseyStatehouseWatch.com, all of our past episodes as well.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us on the New Jersey Statehouse Watch. Join Jack Brangan and Constance Ditzel every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Watch the show live at njstatehousewatch.com or listen anytime. Download the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next time on the New Jersey Statehouse Watch.